Hey, what's up, guys? Riff here. So over the past couple of days on social media, there's been a lot of doom and gloom amongst VTuber fans, especially Hololive fans. They believe the latest big graduation from the company is a signal that there is potentially some internal issues going on at the company that is driving away some of its biggest talents. Now, 2024 has actually been a pretty tough year for some VTuber agencies. Now, a lot of people focus on, of course, Niji-Sanji, and in particular, Niji-Sanji EN, that has had a disastrous few months this year. However, things have actually been pretty quiet recently for Niji-Sanji, other than really the graduation of Victoria Brightshield. Things have been pretty quiet the last couple of months. In fact, it's been Hololive that's been having a lot of news, including some big graduations, some hiatuses, as well as some people changing their role in the company to an affiliate, basically a more behind-the-scenes type personnel instead of being on the forefront and streaming all the time. And that is something that is leading to some concern, let's just say. And the biggest thing to happen recently is the graduation of Fauna. This is something that was announced 2 days ago. She'll be graduating on January 3rd of next year. And you can see her post right here explaining what's going on. And honestly, based on her public statement that she shared on YouTube, it's only 5 minutes if you want to give it a full listen. But it is pretty simple as to the reason why she's leaving. I'll just play a few seconds.
The reason for my graduation is disagreement with management.
There it is. That's pretty much it. Disagreements with management. Now, this is something we've heard pretty recently also from other Hololive members, and this is something that has a lot of people concerned, because what does that mean? Is there some internal strife going on? What's these issues with management that are being referred to? But either way, a lot of people are sad to see her go, and of course, you can check out her past life account. She's already been posting on there over the past couple of weeks, which is interesting to see. Lemon Leaf is the account. Again, one of the things that I'm glad is being no longer treated as taboo is sharing the past life of agency VTubers when they graduate. I don't think there's any secret that I've revealed here. She's gained 200k subs in the past 2 days since announcing her graduation on her Fauna account, so I don't think I'm actually really revealing anything too secret here. But yes, this is the account you can find. Now, there's a lot of conversation going forward about why this is happening, and I've seen some pretty wild stuff going on with Hololive and Cover Corp and some theories people have as to what's going on with the company. I've heard this conversation going on that is very controversial. People are saying that Hololive and Cover Corp have gone fully woke, and this is the reason talents are leaving, because the company's gone woke and everything is changing, and Gawr Gura is a DEI hire. Okay, I made that last part up, but you get the hysteria going on. A lot of people are very concerned. They think this is the beginning of the end, because Hololive is not only just going woke, that they're already woke. Now, I disagree with that. I don't think Hololive and Cover Corp are woke. However, I think the issue is a lot of people are going to the extremes with this, and I think a lot of the things that are being pointed at as concerning are valid concerns, that there is a direction the company is heading, and many would view that as woke. I don't think they're there yet, but I think there's signs that they're heading in that direction. But when it comes to Fauna, none of that has anything to do with her graduation. I think that's clear. The only thing I might say is, because of a lot of changes happening in the company, I think there might be some personnel shortages, which is causing probably some internal strife. But anyways, let's talk about some of these concerns I've been referring to. So this year's been actually one filled with a lot of change for Hololive, beginning with probably the biggest change, the fact that Cover Corp is now public, meaning investors can claim a share of the company, which then means they might have influences on what goes before the board, which then also might influence what's going on with the company, because up until this point, it's been the Cover Corp show, right? They control everything going on, but now they have these investors, these extra parties to cater and to pay attention to, and these investors might say, hey, I like this, or I want to see more of this, but they also might say, I don't like this, and I want you to roll this back or cut this out completely, and that is something that shouldn't be overlooked. Now, I think it's no coincidence that right after that, Cover Corp announced that they want to do a big global expansion, and part of that is expanding into North America, in particular the United States, and we've seen some collaborations like the Hololive and Los Angeles Dodgers collaboration, that had several members of Hololive, including Gawr Gura, singing Take Me Out to the Ball Game. And I think it is no coincidence that this year, the Dodgers would end up winning the World Series. I mean, no coincidence at all. As far as I'm concerned, that was the rallying point for their season. But part of this expansion is opening up a new headquarters, and where else but California. Now, some people saw that and immediately said this company's finished. I think, though, there is some concern. I don't think it's as extreme as some people say, but for those who don't know, California is like the woke capital of the United States. It's basically upside down land. It's bizarro world. It is just crazy, some of the stuff that happens in California. We've seen other Japanese companies create headquarters in California and then start pushing out a lot of DEI, and they start self-censoring and doing all these bad decisions people didn't want. And we've seen that with Sony, Square Enix, among other companies, and people are saying this might be the same thing happening here with Hololive. However, the operations, as of right now, are very small. You can see some quotes here directly about this office in America.
なるほど。はい。オフィスってどんなの？どこにあるの？まあ今は小さいオフィスなので、あんまり人数も多くないんです。どんどん営業とかライセンシングとか増やしたいと思いますので、今はまあ3人4人ぐらいの少人数でやっています。現地で雇った人ですか？それとももともとカバーいた人ですか？現地でやっている方もいるし、私のようには日本から来た人もいる状況です。もっと現地の方増えたいと思いますね。はい。
So that is the thing that I think is the more concerning route. So it's a small office. This interview was from like 3 months ago, so maybe they've increased their personnel a bit. But at the time, they only had 3 or 4 employees, and some of them were from Japan. So, but this quote here about wanting to increase the local employees more is what people might be concerned about. You have people from California now having an influence on what's going on with a Japanese company. And we've seen this story play out before. So I think concerns about that are somewhat valid. On top of that, we look at the investors, right? There are some names in here that are very concerning if you know anything about them. You see like BlackRock, right? You also see the Vanguard Group, okay? They have very small shares, but these are companies with trillions of dollars of assets, and they're ones known for pushing a lot of DEI and related nonsense into the companies they invest in. So I think that is a fair thing to pay attention to, because this isn't an end game here. They can always increase the amount of shares that they're investing into, and that is something that could very much happen. On top of that, we see right around that time some weird statements coming out from Cover Corp, and you start seeing this bizarre, low-quality slop, basically clip art that we normally see from the diversity and inclusion page on some going woke studio, right? Who's heading down that route. Like, what is going on here? And you have further slides like this, once again showing the bizarre clip art that looks nothing like you would expect from Cover Corp. But then they have this United Without Boundaries goal here with a bunch of word salad that literally means nothing. Again, this is something you would expect on the website of a sweet baby partner or something like that. But continuing forward, also there was a bizarre official note made by Cover Corp just a few days ago talking about the conclusion of streaming activities. And this is the translated part from Japanese, talking about how they're going to get rid of the term graduation, which they still used on Fauna's post, but anyways, they want to get rid of graduation because it's too triggering to people. It might like trigger people hearing the word graduation. So instead, they're going to use phrases like end of distribution activities, which sounds way worse. Graduation actually sounds somewhat pleasant and like, you know, like it's not the end of the world. But this sounds very corporate and dry. I don't know why this is somehow better. But what's interesting here and relevant to what we're talking about is down here in the English version of this post, they added a new section that was not present in that Japanese section, talking about towards a more inclusive and diverse production, which is odd. Again, some people might say, oh, what's the big deal? I just find it very strange that they have a separate section for this only in the English part. That should be just odd to you, right? It's like these little things adding up. It's more and more odd things, and it's just like, what is going on over at Cover Corp? And also, let's just establish again, like I said, I don't think Cover Corp has gone fully woke, but I think the totality of what we've been looking at paints a direction the company might be heading, and I think that is one that could be concerning to people, and it might resemble going woke or something like that. And I think it's valid to point out these major changes going on at the company and saying, hey, maybe there might be some influences that might have a negative impact on the company if it continues the way that it has already. Now, there's a video here of one person talking about what's going on in the Vtuber industry and other related industries, and I think this is really the heart of the issue. Beyond anything else we've talked about today, I think there's an issue with personnel shortages in the VTubing scene, especially among agencies who have no shortage of talents. That's not the issue. The issue is having enough background personnel, having the technicians, having management, having promoters, engineers, people who can make things happen. I think there's a shortage of that. And if you have a shortage of that, I think it can cause a lot of internal strife. And I don't think it's any coincidence, by the way, that earlier this year we saw Selene Tatsuki get terminated and return to her past life account Dokibird, and then have enormous levels of success. We saw the same thing with Pomu going to Mint Maid. And I think it is shown for a lot of people that if you go back to your indie life, you can have unparalleled levels of success, even in some cases more than you had with your agency, and also have no strings attached. I think that's also playing some sort of influence on why so many VTubers from big agencies are graduating recently. It definitely gives them promise that there might be greener pastures past the agency where they don't have to worry about management. They don't have to worry about these things. And instead of just dealing with it like they would in the past, maybe they're now saying, well, I don't need to put up with this. I can just go back to my past life account and not deal with these management disputes and just succeed really well. And I think that's going to happen with Fauna, for example. I think she is going to do very well as an indie. A lot of people are highly anticipating her return. She was already very popular on her past life account before joining Hololive, and now she is skyrocketed as a result of graduating from Hololive. But also this whole claim that there's personnel shortages, I think that's corroborated by posts made by Gawr Gura. They've been recruiting a lot of new personnel, and that's a post from only a week ago, so it kind of lines up with some of the things people are saying. And the other thing we got to talk about today is Gawr Gura. So there's a lot of concern about Gawr Gura, and honestly, there's been concern from some people for like 2 years. She's been in what some people describe as a state of semi-graduation for the last 2 years, more sporadic with her public content, although we don't know what she's doing behind the scenes, which I'm sure is a lot. But anyways, if you go to her account right now, her last stream is about 2 months ago, and that's not too surprising. She's gone months without streaming before. But based on what happened with Fauna, if you go to the comment section of that last stream and you just look at the newest comments, they're all like this. It's all people begging her not to leave the agency. I think there is a lot of concern among Hololive fans. Like I said, a lot of doom posting and doom and gloom going on where people think some of the biggest talents are going to continue to graduate or at least reduce their role in the company, as we've seen over the past couple of months. On top of that, we saw this change to the bio of Senzawa, which again, I guess I'm breaking all the taboo here. This is the past life account of Gawr Gura. This is not hidden information, but she recently changed her bio to say #1 fan of Gawr Gura, which is, again, it seems like a bit of a nothing burger, but it's just interesting to see even any level of acknowledgement between the past life account and the corporate account, especially someone as big as Gawr Gura. On top of that, she recently followed Lemonleaf, her past life account of Fauna, and seems to be active, at least somewhat, on that past life account. And really, at this point, there's just a lot going on with Hololive. As you can guess, a lot of this is speculation. I mean, I think this is a healthy conversation to have, especially with what's going on ever since Cover Corp went public and some of the changes we've seen. But overall, a lot going on. But the important thing to understand here is, yes, there's some big changes. And I probably will say expect some more big graduations in the near future. But Cover Corp and Hololive are not going anywhere. They're going to continue being very successful. I don't think we're going to see them go belly up anytime soon, but I definitely think it's important to pay attention as to what's going on with the company and some things going on in terms of the future direction, and to point those things out before they become a much bigger problem than they might already be. But for now, that's going to do it for this video. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoy the video, and I'll see you next time.